Corleone? Oh, Corleone? It is I, the Doctor.
Doctor, my child.
Don Vito, I have a way to get you out of prison.
Speak, my child. Speak to your godfather.
In your pocket I left you an exploding jelly baby. Give it to one of the guards.
Very clever, Doctor. Thank you.
Oh, there's also one other thing. We did kill JNT, but we forgot about somebody else.
Who?
The script editor, Christopher H. Bigmead.
Oh shit, he got involved in my business. Nobody gets involved in my business.
Which is why we need to kill him.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you for this useful information.
He rewrote The Leisure Hive and tried to change all of season 18. JNT was just the beginning. Word is he's trying to write me out of the show.
That's very disrespectful. He will sleep with the fishes tonight.
Thank you, Don Corleone. Let's hug again.
Hello, Mr. Prison Guard. Would you like a jelly baby?
Orange. Alright, I'll give it a try.
Freedom at last. Whee!
When I said act, boy, I meant act. But you keep changing the script. Oh, are you criticising me? Well, yes, I mean, JNT never would. JNT this, JNT that. Change the record, you stupid boy. Stop being JNT's bitch. You're just a lapdog. You're a scrawny, pathetic lapdog. Oh, you want a bone, little doggy? There, go on, fetch, fetch, fetch. No, stop it. Stop it, you arsehole. How dare you? How dare you be so cruel and insult me, Matthew Waterhouse? May as well change your name to Waterworks because it's so easy for you to turn on the tears. There have been a lot of monsters in Doctor Who, but you're the worst. What did you say? Go on, say that again. No, stop it. Don't shoot me. Say cheese.
It's the end, but the moment has been prepared for.
Where is my doctor?
Corleone! Fancy a bit of celery? Oh, jelly babies are too full of sugar for me.
Who are you? Why do you treat the jelly baby so disrespectfully? You don't even think to call me Godfather. What have I done to make you treat me so disrespectfully?
I'll answer in just a moment. Just give me a chance to catch my breath. It is the end, but the moment has been prepared for. After 7 years, 7 seasons, and 42 stories, we say goodbye to the longest serving Doctor of the official show, Tom Baker. You don't even need to ask me if I'm going to have a jelly baby. This one's for you, Tom. Hello Whovians, and welcome to a very, very special Doctor Who review today, where today I review the 7th and final story of Season 18 of Doctor Who, which is also Tom Baker's final story as the 4th Doctor. You know, I can't believe we're here. It's been crazy. I'll talk more about that at the end, but yeah, Logopolis. This is going to be an interesting review. So, yes, before I begin, I'd just like to give a huge shout out to Jack The Film Fanatic for his contribution to the sketch at the start of this review. So, thank you very much, Jack. Anyway, the basic plot of this particular Doctor Who story is as follows. The Doctor goes to Logopolis to repair the TARDIS's chameleon circuit, not knowing that a shadowy watcher is spying on him. Meanwhile, his old enemy, the Master, has only recently gained secure longevity by possessing the body of Tremas and revels in his safety. He has plans of his own for the planet of mathematicians, Logopolis, and a plan that could spell doom for the entire universe. The Master's plan could rock Logopolis, the keystone of all life. Could this mean the unravelling of the causal nexus and the end of the universe itself? The Doctor must pit his wits against the Master in a desperate battle to thwart his plans, but he is aware that this might be a fight which could easily spell the end of his life. There we go, that's the essential plot of Logopolis. So, Logopolis, Tom Baker's final story. How is it? In my opinion, this is a pretty great Doctor Who story. I'm not going to say it's perfect. It isn't a 10 out of 10 masterpiece. It is not, you know, as glorious as some of the previous exits have been, but I think it's pretty good. I think, you know, considering the changes in the show that had happened at the time, considering Tom's conflicts with J&T, this is actually quite good. I think that Tom Baker went out on a good note. That's all I'll say. The story itself, I don't think the story is anything amazing. I mean, it's essentially the end of the world. You know, that's kind of it. It's fun. It's a fun Doctor Who story. It's a great way to reintroduce the Master. And I have to say, Anthony Ainley, I know I've got a lot more of him to see in the future stories in the classic era, but for his first appearance here, he's actually quite good. And he does ham it up a little bit, but I quite like Anthony Ainley, and I like his interaction with Tom Baker. It does appear at first to become somewhat of a Roger Delgado impression, as well as the look. He looks very much like Delgado, but you know, you quickly kind of forget about Delgado and you become accustomed to Anthony Ainley, so I'm not going to fault the story too much for that. And there are some high stakes to the story. There are some high stakes. I think that you know, the Doctor ending up having to work with the Master isn't something he's happy about, and that proves to fall back on him a little bit. But I really enjoyed the story. It was quite fun. I think the first half of the story is really good as well, when we see the Doctor and Adric going through the sort of paradox, essentially, of TARDISes. Like, they're going through the TARDIS and into another TARDIS. It's kind of the first time I recall we've seen a TARDIS within a TARDIS. If I'm wrong, do let me know down below, because I may have forgotten. It's been a while since I've seen all the Troughton, Hartnell and Pertwee stories. But it's a very intriguing story. It is a very intriguing story. It's not without its problems, though. It is not without its problems. For me, introducing Tegan in the story was kind of pointless. I know that initially I think the scripts were written before Tom announced he was going to leave, so they probably had to rewrite the end of the story to make the Doctor regenerate, but still, bringing in Tegan in this story is absolutely unnecessary. I mean, I like Tegan. I think Tegan is very well played by, I think Janet Fielding is her name. Janet Fielding, yeah, she's Australian and she's a flight attendant. She's on her way to work with her aunt, and then something happens. She stumbles across the TARDIS and she kind of ends up getting stuck there, and she joins them on the adventure. Would have been fine, but I think you may as well have waited until the next story, because Peter Davison's in that, so you may as well have just brought her into the Peter Davison era. That's kind of how I, that's kind of what I would do, but whatever. I mean, she's a good character, and she does get involved heavily with the story, and I think she gives a terrific performance. I mean, we've got yet loads more of her to see in Peter Davison's era, so stay tuned for that when you'll hear my extensive thoughts on Tegan. But for most of the first half of the story, she's kind of wandering aimlessly in the TARDIS, not really doing that much, but when she does get involved, there is a purpose for her to be there. But to begin with, I was like, well, why are they introducing her now? This is Tom Baker's last story. It seems a bit pointless, but whatever. Yeah, she's good, though. She gives a good performance. Also, the return of Nyssa. Yeah, Nyssa comes back in the form of Sarah Sutton. She had been brought to Logopolis by the Master, who has taken the body of her father. So there's a lot of emotional aspects to the story with Nyssa. I think she's the emotional heart of this particular story, because she sees her father, the body of her father, but the man is completely changed. The Master has infected her father's body, and essentially the Master has killed her father. And that's something emotional to deal with. And also the revelation that her planet, TRAKEN, has been destroyed by the Master after they left. That's quite interesting, and I think Sarah Sutton's performance is really, really quite good. It's really sensitive, like the look of horror and upset on her face when her and Adric discover that TRAKEN has been destroyed. That's really quite powerful. I think that's a great moment, and of course she will join the Doctor in, Davison's era, so she's going to become a regular companion. Initially that wasn't to be the case, but apparently J&T quite liked her and thought, yeah, we'll make her a companion. I think she seems like a good character, so yeah. Regarding Adric, I still don't really like Adric. I mean, he's okay in this story, but Matthew Waterhouse is still a very poor actor, and I don't think he's ever going to improve in that regard. We'll see what happens in Davison's era, but I don't hear very good things. Let's just say that. I mean, he's all right in the story, but again, him and Tom Baker, they don't work as a dynamic, and I don't know if Tom Baker really works with Tegan and Nyssa, really. I mean, he's not with Tegan long enough to really establish a dynamic, and Nyssa either, so yeah, they're more companions for the Fifth Doctor, but we'll get to that next time. The supporting cast, I've already talked about Anthony Ainley. We've got Dolores Whiteman as Aunt Vanessa, who is Tegan's aunt. She's only in the story for a few minutes, but her little role is nice. The Detective Inspector, played by Tom Georgeson, he's also very good. The Monitor, who's like the main guy running Logopolis, he's very good in his role. And that's kind of it. And obviously, Peter Davison appears at the end, but we'll talk about the regeneration scene later. The climax of the story is really good when the Doctor climbs up on board the satellite dish and has that battle with the Master, and he's trying to unplug the wire, and then he actually he yanks it out, but he falls off. He falls off the dish, and then that's what causes him to regenerate, which is interesting. I like Logopolis. I like the design of the place. I mean, it's mainly sort of a place surrounded by rocks, but it looks pretty good, and I like the effects as well when the Master shrinks people down. I thought that was very well done, and the fact that they got little figurines with the little costumes to resemble those characters that had been shrunk. I thought that the attention to detail there was really, really good. One of Logopolis's other strengths is the fact that we see more of the TARDIS. We kind of see like a kind of garden area, I think, of the TARDIS. At the very beginning of the story, the Doctor and Adric are having a conversation, and I think it's in the kind of garden TARDIS area. I mean, Tegan ends up in there as well at some point, but yeah, no, it's nice to see a bit more of the TARDIS interior. I wish the new series kind of made more of an effort to do that as well, but we'll get to the new series at a later date. Tom Baker's performance is great. I mean, he does look a bit less enthusiastic than he has done in the past, but it's not his best performance, but he does a good enough job for his last one. You can tell he is quite tired by this point, and he's ready to go. He's ready to go, but he still does a good job. I would have liked a bit more humour from him in this one, but that's only a minor criticism. I also feel that Logopolis is a little bit too short. This is one of the rare incidences where I do feel that a longer runtime might have actually been better. This is the end of a very long era of the show, and it's 4 parts long, which is fine, but I personally feel that they could have stretched it to 5 parts maybe, or even 6 parts, because it is epic, and it was meant to be epic, and I think it would have been more epic had they actually stretched the runtime out and built up the stakes a bit more. It's still a great story, and it's still fun, but I just think it's maybe a little bit too brisk. It seems to move very quickly, and it is over like that, you know. It's over like that. The music, I think, is also very good. It's a lot better than it has been in this season. The script by Christopher Bidbeed is generally pretty solid, so I can't really fault the script there. I just think that they could have made it slightly more epic. The director, Peter Grimwade, he does a good job, and it's a nice way to cap off Tom's era. Regarding the regeneration scene, I really like it. I think it's well done. I like the flashbacks to the other companions and to the previous monsters as well of Tom's era. It kind of does, you know, bring it slightly full circle, you know, I would say, and I think it's nice that they do that, because he's had such a long era. You know, it makes sense to kind of bring everything round in a close. And the final scene when he does change into Davison, it's actually quite, you know, it's quite heartbreaking. It's kind of, you know, you might get a bit teary-eyed. It really is sad to see him go, and I love his final line when he says, "This is the end, but the moment has been prepared for." And he smiles at his companions, and then the Watcher comes over to him and you know, goes into his body and makes him regenerate into Davison. I mean, Davison appears at the end but doesn't have any lines. He just kind of like looks at them, and he kind of looks up, and that's it. You know, they didn't give the Fifth Doctor any lines, which I think was fine. You know, they didn't need to give Davison any lines. I mean, we're going to see more of him anyway going forward, so yeah. I forgot to mention the Watcher. Yeah, the Watcher, who is this guy. He's kind of like a ghost-like figure. He's all dressed in white, and he's spying on the Doctor, basically. He's basically kind of saying to the Doctor, in not so many words, like, your death is coming, you're going to die, and, you know, I'm a future version of you. So, yeah, I like that idea. It's a good idea. And, yeah, the regeneration scene is very, very sad. It's very well done, and at least Tom leaves with a smile on his face. So, yeah. So, I mean, Logopolis is a very mixed bag, but I do like the story. I think it's well paced. I think it's a great way to bring the Master back. I think it's a good send-off for Tom Baker. I just wish it was more epic. You didn't need Tegan in the story. You could have lived without some of these things, but I think generally it's pretty good. And I will finish this review by scoring Logopolis an 8 out of 10. An 8 out of 10 might sound a bit disappointing because Tom was the longest serving Doctor, and you know, you want it to be a 10 out of 10, and I did really want it to be slightly better, I can't deny, but I think it's a fun story and it's a good way for him to go out. It's at least good. I mean, thank God it's not as bad as the Leisure Hive. I mean, God's sake. And yeah, that's my review of Logopolis. So just before I go to my mini ranking, I just want to give a few shout outs to some of my regular commenters who have been commenting on my Doctor Who reviews. So, Sam Harrison, thank you very much. FTUMCHK, I don't know how you pronounce that, but thank you for commenting. Hannah Brennan, thank you very much. Nicholas Payne, thank you very much, and also for lending me DVDs and for appearing in the sketches. Rupesh Kumar, thank you very much. Ollie Reviews and Reacts, thank you very much. Owen Wildish, thank you very much. And the last two, my friends Alan Kalo and Jack The Film Fanatic. These two guys are some of my best YouTube buddies. Nicholas Payne is actually also a personal friend of mine, but it's nice to know that we're friends online as well. But my two best online friends are Jack and Alan, so thank you guys so much for supporting my Doctor Who reviews. And I am going to be taking a break, actually, after this review. I'm going to be taking a break, but I'll go into that in a bit. So, it's the end of Season 18. Time for the mini ranking. Right, okay, so to kick off the ranking, at the bottom of the list, you didn't even need me to say anything, the Leisure Hive. Yeah, the Leisure Hive is awful. It's just awful. I've done a rant on it if you want to check that out. Number 6 is Warrior's Gate. Number 5 is Full Circle. Number 4, The Keeper of TRAKEN. Number 3, Megalos. Number 2, Logopolis. And number 1, State of Decay. So, season 18 as a whole, it's pretty good, I'd say. It's a good season. I'm not going to say it's brilliant. I'm not going to say it's perfect. It is an improvement over the previous season. There were a lot of changes to this season. It was very different. I don't think Tom Baker really enjoyed making this season as much as his other ones, and they did change a bit too much about his Doctor, which I'm still not happy about, but generally speaking, that in terms of the stories, the quality was a bit better than season 17. Man, what can I say? Tom Baker, absolutely phenomenal Doctor. This is not a sarcastic clap. This is a genuinely brilliant round of applause. I mean, wow. Tom Baker is without question one of my all-time favourite Doctors. He is amazing as the Doctor. He's not my favourite Doctor. My favourite Doctor is David Tennant, and I'll justify that when I get to David Tennant's reviews. But Tom Baker was an amazing Doctor. For a lot of people, he is the best Doctor, and I can totally see why. He had it all. You know, he had the humour, the witticisms, the serious moments. He could be very dark in places. He could be very queer. He was definitely the most alien. You could see that in his face, and the way he bulged his eyes out and did that smile and everything. I mean, he was just awesome as the Doctor. Very different to Jon Pertwee. I mean, he kind of combined some of the serious Jon Pertwee stuff with some of the eccentricities of the first 2 Doctors, but he puts his own spin on it, and I love the look of his Doctor, not in season 18, but the scarf and the hat and the coat, you know, he was just brilliant, and his stories are fantastic. I mean, there are some duds in there, of course. I mean, it's such a long era, so there's bound to be margin for error, but generally speaking, there are more great stories than bad ones. So Tom had a brilliant era. I love his take on the role. I really wish J&T hadn't have changed so much in the last season that he did. Tom had a more than generous run in the role, and I think he probably left at the right time. I don't think, if he'd stayed for an 8th season, I think that probably would have been overstepping the mark. I think he would have overstayed his welcome, but I think he, you know, throughout he retained his enthusiasm, more or less. I know in season 18 it kind of dips, but he retained his enthusiasm. I really appreciate his contribution to this show, and he kept the show going. And I think there were certain doubts after he left whether the show could survive without Tom Baker, and for the most part, probably didn't. But, you know, Tom Baker left his stamp on the role, and I will forever be grateful for him as the Doctor. And I think I'm going to have some jelly babies, and I'm going to raise a toast. I had planned to get a beer for this review, but I totally forgot. So I'll just drink my glass of Coke. Good old Coke Zero. And I'm going to have a jelly baby in celebration of the 4th Doctor. So, that pretty much concludes everything I wanted to say. I am going to be taking a break from Doctor Who reviews, which I think is well earned. I've been pumping the Tom Baker reviews out since like March, and I did stop. I mean, I started them last year, but then I stopped, and then I started again in March with the lockdown, and I have to really thank the lockdown for allowing me to continue these reviews daily. I don't have a job at the moment, so I have the time to do it. And I didn't think I would actually finish Tom Baker so soon. So thank you to the lockdown for that. But yes, my Doctor Who reviews will be going on hold for a couple of months. I have to review some movies. I need to do something else, you know, to occupy my mind. My reviews will return in August. The Peter Davison reviews will begin in August, and then I'm going to go straight through the rest of the classic series, including the TV movie. So, and then I'll probably have another break after that before the new series. So, yeah, thank you everyone so much for watching this review, and for the sketch as well. Thanks to Jack for the sketch, and thanks to those people I've given shout outs to. Thank you to everyone so much, and I will be back in August to review Peter Davison. I'm going to go on a well-earned break now, so I will finish up with a special tribute to the Fourth Doctor, Tom Baker. Tom, thank you very much. And as always, I'm Mr. TARDIS 11. See ya. Bye for now.